All right, guys, so today I'm going to teach you how to multiply decimals, and that's actually really easy. As long as you know how to multiply two numbers together, then multiplying decimals is just as easy, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so there's 3 steps to multiplying decimals. I'm going to show you the steps first, and then I'm going to actually teach you how to do it, okay? So the first thing you want to do when multiplying decimals is you need to count the places of each decimal point. And I'm going to show you exactly what that means. If that doesn't make sense right now, it's okay. I will show you what that means. But the first thing to do is count the places of each decimal point. The next thing you're going to do is multiply the two numbers together, pretending that the decimals aren't even there. Okay? And then third, you add the decimal places back into your final answer. All right, so those are the 3 steps. I just wanted to go over those quickly before I showed you how to multiply decimals, just so you could see how simple it really is. All right, so let's jump in and get started with actually multiplying decimals together. So we're going to start with an easy one, 4.5 times 9. So when I say to count the decimal places, all that means is I have 1 decimal in this problem, okay? So by counting the decimal places, I'm counting how many places I have to move that decimal in order to create a whole number. So if the decimal's between the 4 and the 5, I just need to move the decimal place 1 place in order to turn that into 45. So I'm going to write on the side here, I move that decimal 1 place. Okay, so this only required 1 place movement. So now I'm just going to multiply 45 times 9 as I normally would. You could use box method, you can use partial products, you can use standard algorithm, whatever you want to use, it doesn't matter as long as you're multiplying 45 times 9. So I'm going to do it using the old school standard method just because it's the easiest for me right now, but you can use whatever you want. 9 times 5 is 45, so I'm going to put a 5 down. Carry my 4. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 4 is 40. So now I have 405. 45 times 9 is 405. But I can't forget about that decimal place that I moved. So now I'm going to take that 1 place and I have a decimal there because with any whole number, you can assume that there's a decimal at the end of it. I'm going to take this decimal point and I'm going to move it back 1. And I'm going to put a decimal there. So my answer is 40.5. So I moved the decimal to the right in order to multiply, but now I need to move that decimal back in. Okay, so that's really all multiplying decimals is. It's just multiplying like you normally would, but being able to manipulate those decimal points in order to make your answers correct. All right, so I'm going to show you a few more examples of how to do this. So let's do a problem that has a couple more decimals in it. So 7.2 multiplied by 3.4. Okay, so we're going to multiply these two. First thing I need to do is move my decimal points so that I have whole numbers. And then I need to count how many decimal places I'm moving. So I'm going to grab my black pen again. Actually, I'll do a black Sharpie. It's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so in order to make 7.2 a whole number, I need to move this decimal back, and I only had to move it back 1 place, right? I only had to move it 1 place in order to create 72. So I'm going to X out that original decimal point. I moved the decimal point over here. I moved it 1 place. And for this decimal, again, in this case, I only have to move it 1 place. I'm going to X that out, and I'm going to move that decimal right here to create 34. And then I move that one place. So now I have 72 times 34. And again, you can multiply this however you want, whatever your favorite method is. I'm going to use box method for this problem. Okay, so I'm going to create my 2x2 box. And I have 72 times 34. Okay, so 30 times 70 is 2100 or 2100. 30 times 2 is 60. 70 times 4 is 280. And 4 times 2 is 8. So I'm going to add all those up. Okay. 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry the 1. We have 4 here and bring down our 2. So our answer is 2,448. But since we're working with decimals, we have to remember to add back in those decimal places. So if you remember, we added 2 decimal places in the beginning, right? We moved our decimal once here and once here. So that's 2 times altogether. So I'm going to take my answer and I need to move back in a decimal place 2 places. So we moved out 2 places here, so I need to move in 2 places in my answer. So that is my final answer, 24.48. Right, so it's all about moving out your decimals, counting out how many times you had to move your decimal, and then moving it the same amount back in. All right, let's do another practice. We're gonna get 2 more practice problems. Okay, so let's do 14.2 times 7.3. Okay. So first thing we always need to do is move our decimal places out so that we have whole numbers. So I'm going to move 1 place here, 1 place here, and that is equal to 2 places altogether, right? 1, 2. Okay, so now we're going to multiply like normal. I'll do partial products this time. So we're going to do 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 40, I'll put those out in parentheses. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 40 is 120. And then 3 times 100 is 300. Okay, and then I'm going to move to 70 times 2 is 140. 70 times 40 is 2,800. And 70 times 100 is 700. I'm sorry, that's 7,000. Oopsie. Okay, so I'm going to add all these up. I get 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Carry my 1, and I have 10. So wow, we've got a big number here. All right, 10,366. But then we need to add in the decimal places that we moved out, right? So I'm going to rewrite this number with no comma. And I need to add back in 2 decimal places. So I'm going to go 1, 2, add my decimal there, and my answer is 103.66. Okay, so hopefully this is starting to make sense. We're going to do one more practice problem. Okay, and we're going to be working with a different number of decimal places for this one. Okay, so let's do 24. Actually, let's do 2.42 multiplied by 3.5. So here we have 2 numbers, but we have 2 different numbers of decimal places. So for this top one, for 2.42, we actually have to move our decimal out 2 places, right? 1, 2. Okay, so that's 2 places there. And then for 3.5, I only need to move my decimal out 1 place. So altogether, we moved 3 places. We moved 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 places altogether. So now we're going to again multiply like we normally would. How about I'll do old school for this one. So, all right, 5 times 2 is 10. Put the 1 down. I'm sorry, put the 0 down. Carry the 1. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 21. Put the 1 down. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, and then I'm going to put my placeholder here. And I'm going to move to the 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. Put my 2 down, carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay, so now we're going to add these up. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is our final answer, but I have to remember that I need to add in those 3 decimal places that I moved out in the beginning. So remember, you always start right at the end of the number because there's always an imaginary decimal point right there. So you're going to start there and you're going to move in 3 places. 1, 2, 3, and my decimal place should end up right there. So my answer for this question should be 8 and 470 thousandths.